Hey guys, Gameboy 3800 here once again. Today we're in Forza starting up a new little series. We're going to be taking some GT class cars around the Falcon Arrowhead circuit because the new Alfa Romeo is actually pretty killer and I want to see how good it actually is. So that's today's goal. Change filter. I just want to, there we go. I did a base time, 1 lap around in a Renault Clio. And just 1 lap around. We're going to give ourselves 5 laps in the stock Noble. And I'll choose top of this one because it's a pretty well balanced class. Sometimes you can build cars right up to it. Sometimes you have to make compromises. So we will see what kind of times we get. And for tuning, if it's rear wheel drive, I'll try to keep it that. If it's front wheel drive, I'll try to keep it that. If it's all wheel drive, it'll stay like that. If it cannot reach the top of the class with a certain driveline, I will swap it to all-wheel drive to be balanced. And if it's rear-wheel drive, I'll have a tune like this for the tires, where rears are lower, fronts are higher. So we get better launch, and we get good bite on turn-in. If it's got a tunable gearbox, I'll tune it to the best of my abilities, so that it'll give us a good drive, starting from second gear. And alignment will usually be something like this, where it'll be lower camber in front and even lower camber in rear than standard, so that we get more contact patch. Usually medium amount of caster, not always the highest. Springs, 2 steps above lowest for all tunes. And springs, I'll try to keep them relatively stiff so that we get some good contact on this racing surface. Aerodynamics will be pushed as high as they can go because this is a pretty corner-heavy track. And brakes will have a standard braking force, 50-50, and a little bit of extra under pressure. And differential will be near enough locked for the rear. And if it's got front drive, it'll be at 5%. And we're doing the Noble because it's pretty god tier and very fast. And we're going to see how a stock Noble compares up against the other cars in today's lineup. Now that Renault Clio is not in the competition, it is just a baseline car to give my Ghost something to go up against. We have 5 laps around, so we're hoping to break below 1 minute here. All the cars I have already built, at least for the most part. If there's one I decide to add later on, we can build it on video. But all the others are already built to the top of S1 class. And I won't always be following like this kind of line. Depends what the car likes. Right now I'm just getting a feel for how the Noble handles at S1 class around the circuit. You can see it does like to get a little bit of wheel spin. And for the really powerful cars, this big bank turn, which is all full throttle for the most part, I'm sure the American cars we got coming along with all their power will quite enjoy that. And cars with very grippy special race tires should like the circuit a lot. It is a proper racing tarmac circuit. You get a lot of grip with slick tires. We got a little bit of a slide going with the Noble. I'll try to maintain better control for the next few laps. I'll take a high line jumping in so that we can have a good apex. I'll try not to corner cut. We can't miss a checkpoint, obviously, so those are the obvious limits. And it'll say we won. We will continue lapping until we hit 5 laps. So no braking at all around this turn. Very fast. We get up to some good speeds here. The very fastest cars may even break 200 miles an hour coming to this turn. But of course, if they have power, they might sacrifice on grip. So we'll have to see how all the cars handle. I tried to build them as evenly as possible, going for lightness above all else. Lightness, race tires, and aerodynamics. Alright, this is going to be a good time here for the Noble here. 55 seconds. Full power, full beans. The brakes on the Noble are so good. I was well into the red on the braking line there, and I still made it. I am playing on controller. That's just what I'm most comfortable with, although I have played this game a significant amount of time on a racing wheel as well. So, I don't know, maybe I'll do a few laps for fun on that one episode. But for the opening episode here, we got the Noble, and we will do one other car for comparison. Because running a Noble on its own with no comparison is not as fun. This is our final lap. And I wonder if we can get any faster with the Noble here. Lap 3 was still our fastest lap. I'll use the e-brake sparingly, because that can just get the car into a bigger slide than you were trying to get it out of. So we need to be careful with that. Didn't quite run deep enough on that one, I don't think. We'll see if that gives us a better time. Being a slow and steady wins the race kind of a moment there. No, that was not a faster lap time. 55.9, that is our time to beat. The Noble did a pretty good job. Let's go ahead, quit out of the event here. Our next car is going to be the new Alfa Romeo. Just to see how it compares. There are other cars we could try as well, though. We could try the BSC Mono, for instance, but no, we're going to do the Alfa Romeo. It's brand new. We'll see how it does. This has a lot of aero bits. It does not have as much power as the Noble. I think we'll be pretty well stable, but you know, we may not have as much top speed around the Big Bend, the oval part of the race. Oh, can it make it up in the corners? That's something we're going to have to wait and see. And here's how I've tuned the Alfa. You can see a pretty standard looking tune. No big deal. Let's see if it beats the Noble. 5 laps around, just as I did before. This one's got the Racing V6, the new motor. I will often use the best motor available, and that'll typically be the lightest motor I can fit in it. So this first lap, just an opener. We ignore the ghost. This is to get a feel for how the car handles on a track like this. The Racing V6 is an odd engine. It's literally just a higher revving Racing V8, it sounds like. But, you know, it's got some good power. Not anywhere near as much power as the V8, obviously, but, you know. So first lap, the Noble is pulling ahead. Of course, this is going to be up against our Noble's best lap. Can we make it up in the corners? It's got a good lead. Of course, as I learn the circuit and learn better lines, the times will come down just naturally. Oh dear. Now, we will allow a dirty lap, as I am not wall riding to gain time. If I just tap a wall, and it doesn't gain me any time, I will still count that dirty lap. I'm getting a lot more understeer than I thought I would in this car. I thought this car would be way more planted. Oh well, this is a guff of a lap. We just gotta hope we can get into the next lap with as much speed as possible. Yeah, the Noble just pulls away in the turn. Now I'll give myself 5 laps, as that's enough time to get a feel for the car and the track. I'm doing the same thing again. Enough time to get a good feel for the car and track, but not so much time as to burn myself out on doing this. Best lap 56.7. That's not good enough to beat the Noble. That time I tried staying in 5th. Let's see how that works for us. Drove it all the way to 10,000. Okay, this is a turn that's been catching me out. I keep neutral steering out of it. A little bit better that time. There we go. That's the kind of turn I was looking for. Can I keep it up and beat the Noble? Looks like we're gonna get it. Yeah, by half a second. We'll do the last lap. See if we can improve that time even further. Nah, we're not gonna improve it. Oh well. I tried to be a little bit later on the brakes to see if I can improve the time there. Couldn't do it. We did beat the Noble by half a second though. We had a good turn. We didn't neutral steer out wide anywhere. That was a good lap. The Noble is a formidable car on any track, of course. So to be able to take it down in anything is a feat in and of itself. So the little Alfa Romeo, not quite as easy to drive or as consistent to drive as a Noble, but it is still a heck of a lot of fun. Are we even gonna? Okay, we're not gonna outmatch the Noble's power, but we almost beat it there to the line. That would have been a good lap to beat it on, even if we would have dirtied it by hitting a wall. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. The Noble is a good car, but if you can drive the Alfa Romeo just right, it can be even better. Thanks, Game Boy out. I will see you all in the future. Goodbye.